Hey guys, welcome to Health. Let's check out this video call. It's a another extra history video. Okay, let's just watch this. We're in part 3. Okay, last time I didn't have internet connection, but I got that back now. So yeah, I had to download it on a phone. The video was kind of glitching out, but not. I don't think this video was glitching out though. But there's a bunch of fucking dogs outside my house barking like. Man, I don't like dogs. I love cats. I don't like dogs, man. Fuck it. But whatever. Let's just get into this Byzantine Empire, Justinian and Theodora, okay? Apparently they're legends. At least like Justinian was a legend, and I've been seeing some of the first 2 parts. I was really surprised at how much of a legend he is. It's ridiculous, okay? But today we're gonna watch this thing called Purple is the Noblest Shroud by Extra History Byzantine Empire, Justinian and his wife Theodora. Purple is the Noblest Shroud? I don't know what that means. It's part 3. Let's just get into it. It's only 9 minutes long. It's gonna be fun and it's gonna be cool, okay? Let's just get into this fucking dog. But whatever, let's go. 3, 2, 1, let's go! Let's go. It's gonna be fun, and if you like this reaction, please subscribe, okay? Please fucking subscribe. Alright, please show me support. And I'll see you, let's just get into it. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Dang! Let's see what happens this time, you know?
We stand upon execution grounds in Constantinople. 7 men are lined up to die. One by one, they drop. The first man falls, ropes snap taut, feet tremble. The second man falls. Then the third, the fourth, and the fifth. Then the final 2 drop. There's a deafening crack, a retort that rings throughout the courtyard. Then
What the fuck?
Silence. And then frantic action. 2 men are on the ground, gasping, grabbing their necks. The echoes of the sound, a sound not of bones breaking, but of ropes snapping, still bounce from the stone. The guards look about confused. The executioner has yet to even become aware of his error. A group of monks from the nearby monastery of St. Conon, who have been watching from the crowd, surge forward to gather up the men. They can't let such suffering continue. The guards move to stop them, but the crowd bars their way. The monks procure a small boat and row the men across the winter waters of the Bosporus to the Church of St. Lawrence to ask sanctuary of the priests inside.
Jeez.
The guards arrive, but the men are already safely within the church. They have sanctuary. The guard commander posts men at all the exits. He'll starve them out.
Oh my
it's not
god!
long before a crowd starts to gather.
What the
The men
fuck?
who were hanged, and the men who escaped, these were men of the Demes, men of the chariot racing factions that played such a huge part in Byzantine life. The
Really?
Demes, the sports clubs that had a hand in everything from running the city fire departments to making major political decisions, had become more and more unruly, more and more lawless over the preceding years. During a riot that had broken out after a chariot race a few weeks earlier, several people were murdered. A little hooliganry could be tolerated, but that was too much. Order had to be maintained in the capital, so 7 of the ringleaders were marked to die for their crimes. But 2 of them didn't die, and they would serve as the tinder that would set Constantinople alight.
Holy
On
shit!
January 13th, 532, the Emperor Justinian entered his box in the Hippodrome, like he would for any other race. But these races, the races to celebrate the Ides of January, were to be different. The crowd began to shout for clemency, to beg the emperor to forgive the 2 men still holed up in the church.
Okay.
Race after race went by, and they continued to loudly implore the emperor.
Yeah,
but the emperor...
some of these emperors, big personalities, they don't give a fuck what the people are saying. And that really pisses me off, you know. You gotta respond. They're yelling, man. Come on, say something.
The emperor was silent. He'd had too much of the Demes controlling his city. Law would be restored. But as the last few races were being set up, the crowd's chant changed. They began to chant, "Long live the merciful blues and greens," because, as fortune dictated, of the men hiding in the church, the ones who'd escaped, one was from each of the Demes. Then, suddenly, someone shouted, "Nika!" Then the crowd, perhaps tens of thousands strong, began to shout it at the emperor. Nika was the cry for victory. It meant conquer, and usually the blues and greens would shout it at one another, taunting each other as their racers won, or encouraging their champions as they sped around the track. But here, now with one voice, the entire stadium screamed it at the emperor.
What the
The
fuck?
Demes had always been kept in check by one another. They were never united, and so the emperor could play them against each other when the need was nearest. But here they stood as one, chanting. This must have been a terrifying moment.
Holy
The emperor's
shit.
guard hastily led him out of his box and down the specially constructed tunnel that connected his seat in the hippodrome to the palace. The emperor was shaken, but he wasn't going to be cowed by the mob. They'd likely fall back into their rivalries before nightfall. But the
Oh,
mob,
man.
now united, flooded out into the streets of Constantinople,
Holy
burning
shit.
and looting as they went. They made their way to the palace and set the palace gate ablaze. But the
Oh
fire
my
spread.
God.
First, the Church of Sancta Sophia, the great center of worship for the capital, caught alight and was consumed by the flames.
Oh my
then the baths,
God.
the great baths of Zeuxippus, the baths built by Constantine himself when he founded the
Oh.
city, adorned with treasures assembled from around the world,
Oh,
fell victim to the
man.
flame. The ash
Holy
and tinder
shit.
of antiquity floating off into the night sky. By dawn, much of the Augustium, the palace quarter, was in cinders. But when the city
Oh,
woke,
man.
it wasn't the stunned and subdued city Justinian had hoped for. For 5 more days, the riot burned through the city. The palace was
Okay.
under siege, the prison was razed to the ground, and its prisoners loosed. And through all this, fire. Fire spread through every quarter,
Oh
burnt
my
its way
God.
through the wood and timber, leaping from house to house as the riot raged around it. And the riot
Dang.
itself was a servant of the fire, keeping those who would try to stay it, those who were part of the bucket brigades or part of the civic corps, fighting in the streets while the city burned. And then, on Sunday the 18th, as smoke covered Constantinople and nearly a quarter of the largest city in the world
My
lay in
God.
smoldering ruin, the crowd again gathered for the games. Justinian, cowed for perhaps the only time in his career, came out and told the crowd he would give their men pardon. But now that wasn't enough. The crowd shouted that they wanted evil officials removed. They shouted for
Okay.
removal of the city prefect, the man who had been responsible for the arrest of their leaders in the first place.
Fuck
This was
that
to be expected.
motherfucker.
Justinian acquiesced. Then the crowd called out the names of Tribonian, Justinian's legal advisor who had rewritten the law code, and John the
Oh.
Cappadocian, the empire's taxman. Justinian
Oh,
was
man.
stunned. These men were corrupt, but their corruption didn't particularly affect the poor citizens of Constantinople. This wasn't the sort of request the mob would make. No, this meant they were being backed by senators, by
Oh.
powerful men, perhaps some of the
Ugh.
very same men who took shelter with him in the palace, who
Evil.
stood next to him while the mob howled outside. This
Oh,
spooked Justinian.
shit. Holy
He accepted
shit.
these terms. He offered a full pardon to everyone involved. But even this wasn't enough. Clearly, the crowd had been primed.
The list
In
just
their
keeps
fury,
going
they called
on.
for a new emperor. Justinian again retreated to his palace and
Oh,
conferred with
God.
his advisors. He began
Jeez.
to make plans to take the treasury and those men loyal to him and board ships to flee across the Bosporus. Meanwhile, the mob raged through the city.
Oh,
The
my
nephews to
God.
Anastasius, the previous emperor, still lived. Why were the people of Constantinople serving as slaves to this upstart emperor born a peasant when they had men of royal blood that they could elevate to the purple? As the
Oh
riots
my
had spread over
God.
the preceding days, most of Anastasius's remaining kin had fled the city, but one aging relative of the old emperor remained, a man named Hypatius. Hypatius never wanted to be emperor. In fact, he was hiding under his bed when the mob arrived. But they found him and carried him on their shoulders back to the hippodrome to crown him and proclaim him their emperor.
Wow.
As this was happening, Theodora, Empress of Rome, looked at the trembling men around her, counseling her husband to flee, and said, "Whether or not a woman should give an example of courage to men is neither here nor there. At a moment of desperate danger, one must do what one can. I
Oh.
think that flight, even if it brings us to safety, is not in our interest. Every man born to see the light of day must die, but that one who has been emperor should become an exile, I cannot bear. May I never be without the purple I wear, nor live to see the day when men do not call me your majesty. If you
Oh.
wish safety, my lord, that is an easy matter. We are rich, and there is the sea, and yonder our ships. But consider whether if you reach safety, you may not desire to exchange that safety for death. As for me, I like the old saying, that the purple is the noblest shroud."
Oh.
There was a silence in the hall, and shame. Then Justinian said, "Get me Belisarius, Mundus, and Narses."
Yeah.
While the palace guards had not been enough to quell the riot, as luck
Right.
would have it, Belisarius, Justinian's greatest general, happened
Yeah.
to be in the city waiting to be reassigned, and Mundus,
Okay.
the great Germanic general who had long defended the empire's northern frontier, was also passing through the city on his way to take up Belisarius's old post. Neither of them had their armies with them, but they did have their personal legions. At Justinian's command, they gathered their men. The last
Okay.
man Justinian gathered, Narses, was a
Narses.
deceptively frail man, a thin Armenian eunuch serving in the palace. Justinian trusted Narses. Narses was his master of the treasury, and as a eunuch, Narses could never become emperor. So Justinian could ask Narses to do the very thing that had allowed his family to usurp the throne in the first place. Take a big bag of money, slip out of the palace, and bribe those opposing him.
Dang.
Narses made his way to the hippodrome, unnoticed,
Unnoticed.
quietly following the stair that took him to the box where the leaders of the Blues stood as the crowd
Huh.
shouted and cheered for Hypatius. Narses reminded them that Justinian favored the blues, and you know that Hypatius guy's a green, right? Before putting a small stack of gold in each of their hands.
Dang!
Soon after, members of the blues started to silently disperse.
Crazy
But the
plan!
Hippodrome was still filled with tens of thousands of blues and greens milling about the arena floor. Belisarius planned a commando raid to snatch Hypatius and flee, but he found the way blocked, so the order was given. Belisarius and his men entered from the east, while Muntus entered from the west. They marched in a line, cutting down all before them. People panicked and fled, clambered over each other, were trampled as they ran, but impassive, the soldiers marched on. By the end of the day, 30,000 people lay dead in the Hippodrome.
Holy shit!
Justinian's reign would never be challenged again.
Holy shit!
Join us next week as we watch Justinian rebuild Constantinople, and Belisarius sets out to recapture the West.
This is ridiculous! Oh man! Oh god. I couldn't even pause the video. It was so, like, I was so focused on it. It was crazy. Okay? Man. So who's the evil one anyway? Justinian seems to be, you know, finding a solution for the problem, and then he's like kind of evil, killing 30,000 people in the Hippodrome. That's like fucking massacre inside the Hippodrome. That's crazy. Holy shit, they should have never done that. That's insane, okay? But dang, Byzantine Empire, Justinian and Theodora. I couldn't even stop and talk about it. It was so entertaining and I was so focused in watching it. It was crazy, okay? Purple is the Noblest Shroud by Extra History, Part 3, Byzantine Empire, Justinian and Theodora. Theodora actually plays a part in this, which is cool, and she actually helps Justinian realize that, like, escaping is not a solution. You gotta figure out stuff. He should have known that. Instead, his advisors are like, tell him to leave, grab a boat, and fucking flee and hide somewhere. That's stupid. No. You gotta protect your place, but killing 30,000 people? I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't know about that, but I thought if you're gonna have a plan, maybe you should, like, find a way to disperse everybody, right? That's a good plan. But to kill 30,000 and nobody dared try to, you know, go against Justinian or what? This is a bloodbath, a minor bloodbath, which is big as fuck. It's a big bloodbath, but it's a minor part of Justinian's life, I guess, you know. So yeah, Byzantine Empire, Justinian, Theodora. Purple is the Noblest Shroud by Extra History Part 3. What did you think about this reaction? Did you like my reaction? If you like my reaction, I'm sorry I wasn't able to talk a lot during the video, but it was like so entertaining and focusing, so interesting that I couldn't. Okay, this was really cool. I can't wait for the next part. Okay, so please subscribe to this channel if you like this reaction. This is my main channel. This will upload like once a week, but I do upload shitload of videos that one day. Okay, so right now, if you're seeing this video, there's a bunch of videos that came along with this. I reacted like 6 videos at once. I only do it once a week, so it's like I react to so much shit, okay, that at once. So please show me support for my useless amount of efforts, because on YouTube, no matter how much you try hard, you'll never get anything, okay? So please try to understand. If you like it, please subscribe. Go check out my backup channel, the link in the description. Napoleon reactions are over there. Go check it out. And if you have any suggestion, please suggest me any other playlists, any other series, historical series. I would love to react to that. Please suggest me stuff. I'll note it down and react to it. I'll even say your name. Okay, so yeah, can't wait for the part 4. Next time we're gonna have Belisarius and Justinian do something, which is gonna be so cool, because I reacted to Belisarius series as well on this channel, so go check that out as well. Okay, so yeah, fantastic series. Can't wait for the next part. I'll meet you next week, and I'll see you guys later. Also, like, there's a death battle video out now. I did a reaction on it on my backup channel. It's there. On this channel is there. The reaction is going to be uploaded here, but I'll make a reaction mashup of it on my MASHUP channel. So go check it out. The link in the description for my MASHUP channel. So yeah, it's Goku versus Superman. So it's going to be amazing. Go check it out, and I'll see you guys next week. Okay, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.